Welcome to this gentle movement practice and guided meditation for times of uncertainty, anxiety, and upheaval, for many people, isolation. I hope that these practices will be extremely supportive for you.
The focus for today's class is going to be on creativity and how creativity plays in these interesting times that we're in, and how we can potentially be more creative. And I've certainly, you all know, have this crazy broken ankle, so it's been an interesting couple of days for me figuring out how to be creative both in my yoga practice and in life in general. This doesn't discount at all the anxiety that you might be feeling or any of these other kind of really challenging things that are coming up for people. I think creativity is an outlet that allows us to create space where there's constriction. And certainly a big part of what we'll be doing through the movement practice is grounding. And so grounding is our first priority, breath as well. Actually, breath probably more than grounding, a priority when we're feeling anxious. And so the breath is the beginning, it's the middle, and the end. And grounding is really nothing more than just trying to set your focus, your attention on what you're feeling, what's connected to the ground, what's coming up for you physically. So what's happening in your physical body. So we want to focus on that as well. So my transitioning from here to there and there to sitting is super slow, which is good. It'll give you time to kind of settle in between transitions. You can start lying down or sitting up, whatever you prefer. And really our priority here is comfort. So doing things with your body that allow you to feel a sense of comfort. And if we're doing something and it doesn't make sense to you, hopefully my visual guidance will help a little bit. And if it doesn't make sense for you, either because the instructions are confusing or because it doesn't feel right in your body, then come back to a place where you feel your feet or your back on the ground, where you can find that sense of comfort. So it could be just sitting, it could be lying on the ground. For some people, doing a little shaking helps to just reset. So there are some options there, but really if it doesn't make sense, don't let yourself go to that place where it feels confusing. Just find something that feels lovely for you in your body. So find a comfy spot. Lie down, sit up, close your eyes. Option always to drop your gaze as well. And wherever you are, start by feeling what parts of you are connected to the ground. So if you're sitting, you might feel your sits bones. If your legs are crossed, your shins, your calves. If you're on your back, what parts of your back are touching the ground? And are your feet touching or are your legs out straight? So just being really keenly aware of what your posture is. And can you sense places on your body where you feel discomfort, where your body feels like it needs some space? Can you sense places on your body where you feel comfortable? So even if it's a a small spot. Some days when we wake up, the body just feels like it needs movement, it needs stretching, stuff going on that's distracting, and it's maybe more challenging to find places that feel really 100% comfortable. So you kind of have to look into the nooks and crannies, the tips of your toes, the palm of your hand, your earlobes even. It might not be the big muscles today, that's okay. And then bring both hands to your belly and just tune into how your hands feel. The connection of your hands on the fabric of your clothing, the temperature, weight. And can you feel just this slight rhythm, just this tiny movement of your body breathing itself? And when you start to notice that, does the breath want to change? Does the mind change the breath? Because that awareness cues something for you. And if it does, be aware of it. And try to still the breath. Try to convince the mind that the breath knows what it needs to do. And if when the breath starts to feel comfortable, long, smooth, comfortable, that's the breath that we're hoping for. That's the intention of the breath. Then can you start to hear just the tiniest sound on the inhale that's like the sound of an animal purring, or if you can think about what it sounds like to listen to a tiny baby breathing in their sleep. You can hear it, but it's effortless. And then as you exhale, exhaling through your mouth with that same intention of effortless breath. And with that effortless exhale, shoulders soften, pelvis softens, letting go breath. So sometimes for some people on some days, paying attention to the breath like this feels really more agitating than relaxing. So one of the ways that we can counter that, or that we can still find this rhythm without paying such close attention to the breath, is to keep our awareness in the hands on the belly and pay more attention to things like the texture of your clothing or the temperature or the weight of the hands on the belly. If it feels more comfortable to let your hands rest at your side, then another option is to open and close your fists. Long, slow, rhythmic movement that would mirror a long, smooth, and comfortable breath. There's a lot of factors that played into human evolution. And one of the really big factors was ingenuity, our ability to be creative, not discounting all of the other things. So we're in this crux, this thing that's happening, this maybe evolution, maybe it's just a blip, maybe it is going to be a shift, this whole pandemic that's happening. But more importantly than whether or not it's some kind of a human evolution, we're in this phase where we really need to find ways of being different. Even if it's just in this moment in life, finding ways to be different, this technology that we're having to learn. There's a lot of good things about learning. It's really good for your nervous system if you can learn things without feeling frustrated by it. So you have, for all of us, different things that are coming up that we need to somehow do differently. How we spend our time, in particular, if we tend to need a lot of social interaction, how do we fill that time up? How do we connect? For some people, busyness, how do we juggle all of this new stuff that's coming in? How do we stay grounded and calm when we're needing to do things at twice the speed we were before? How do we go to the grocery store less? How do we make do with what's happening or with the food that we have? So I want you to just, as you rest here, just take a moment and think about where you need to be creative in order to feel like you're sustained, like you're content. What are you missing, or what do you need to let go of? What do you need to find a solution to? Even if the solution seems like, every solution you've thought of seems like it would be second best. Can you just honor that creativity, that allowing to do things differently because it's what you need to do, and say to yourself, I'm doing something differently, and that's a sign of creativity. And creativity is a sign of evolution, growth, personal growth. Maybe where you're at feels insurmountable, or it requires some sacrifice, some letting go of something, maybe it's a belief about something or a habit. Maybe it is a need. Certainly, if it's a need that you feel like you need to let go, we need to be more creative to figure out how to fill that need in this new state of being. Maybe you're not really sure. Maybe things just don't seem right, and you need to spend some time figuring out what is it that you really need in order to be content in this new reality. What is it really that you need? Sometimes we think we need something, but there's something underneath. We have to kind of unpack it a little bit. I know for me, certainly a belief around doing it all myself has had to change a lot in the last week. That's really acute for me, forefront of my mind. Definitely The way that I shop and eat for food in particular is changing. Trying to empty the freezer before I buy more. And sometimes when we're thinking or faced with um, changes or challenges and it's not our choice, there's resistance. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. It's not possible. Those are places where we tend to get stuck, where we need more creativity. We need to think more outside the box. So one thing that I know for sure is that we can't be creative, we can't get unstuck, we can't think differently when we're standing firmly in the same spot. We need to shift, we need to move. And this is one area, I think, where yoga can be so helpful because it allows us to create some space, even if just in the moment. And movement, any kind of movement, really. It's super helpful for the nervous system. Whether you have anxiety or depression, movement is really essential. It doesn't have to be running a marathon. It can be these gentle movements that we're going to practice today. So move, make space, channel creativity. These are all of the themes that I'm putting out for you in your practice, and it may resonate with you, or there may be something else that you feel like you need from your practice. So, to what will you dedicate your practice? What is your intention? How do you want to walk away? How do you want to be more filled up at the end of our time together? If something comes to you, plant that like a little seed in the altar of your heart. And if nothing comes, just try to stay open. It may come to you. I know recently I had this experience where I was setting an intention and it didn't come. And then I realized that the intention was just clarity, just nothing. Don't think about it. It doesn't have to be anything grand. And it may not be something that your mind immediately wants to bring up. Be open. And we'll sit with that for just a moment or two. Go back to your breath. That baby's breath, that animal purring breath is ujjayi breath or victorious breath. Victory and letting go. Whether you're sitting or lying, just let your hands wiggle a little bit. Shake them out. You may find as you do this, your breath starts to fill up a little bit more. You may want to take a deeper breath, more of a sighing out breath. Just a little bit more, and then let your hands flop down. Feel your fingers tingling. sparkling, I like to call it. Feel a little bit of life, a little bit of vitality, just through that simple movement of shaking your hands. Go back to your breath. And then as you're ready, if you're not already, come on up to sitting.
So you can be sitting cross-legged, or you can be sitting in a chair. Wherever you are, again, feel where you're grounded, your sits bones, if your legs are crossed. Look down at your legs and notice which one is in front. There's always one that's in front. Just be aware of that. Bring your hands to your knees and start to round your shoulders forward and stretch your heart back. And then come forward, drop your shoulders, lift your heart, arch your back, and go back and forth like that. Connect your breath. Exhaling back, inhaling forward. Sometimes when we add the breath, it becomes very mechanical. So I would opt for, if you can, more flow, a little bit more of a wave-like movement rather than focusing too much on connecting the breath. And then come back to center. Look at the leg that's in front and bring the opposite hand to that knee. Other hand is going to come on the ground behind you comfortably. So we're coming into a twist, but it's not a super deep twist to start. It's just whatever rotation we can find without effort. If you're on a chair, you can also bring your hand to the back of the chair. Get nice and tall, so lift through the crown of your head. Drop your shoulders away from your ears, and then rotate and look behind. As far as your neck will comfortably go. So for some people, your neck's going to be stiffer, and it's better to keep it straight. If you can comfortably look behind, go for it. And just make sure your shoulders are comfortable. Let your eyes go even further than your head. Again, even if your head is straight, look over your shoulder with your eyes. So eye yoga, keeping our eyes healthy. Keep breathing. And then just your eyes look forward and rotate around. The hand that was behind you comes either to the side of the chair or the ground. And then reach your other arm just out to the side to start. Feel space starting through your side waist. Drop your shoulder that's on the ground away. Reach a little bit higher, and then hand can come to the back of your head or over or straight up. Find a place where it's comfortable. So sometimes hand on the neck, hand on the head is a little easier on the shoulder. Reach through the side so you can just stretch your side as if you want to pull it out and away from your center. It might feel good if your hand is on your head to just press your head back into your hand. And then release back to center. Switch the crossing of your legs. So other leg comes in front if your legs are crossed. And we do that on the other side. So hand comes to opposite knee, other hand behind you, either on the ground or the back of the chair. A gentle twist to start, and then lift and rotate. Eyes look back, even further than your head. Eyes look forward and then rotate back. Hand that was behind you to the ground or your chair. Reach up, drop your shoulders. So in particular, the shoulder of the arm that's on the ground, really let it be soft. The hand may be supporting you, but don't let that create any kind of crunching between your shoulder and your ear. Reach, 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 and then options. Hand can stay up, hand can come to the back of your head, or hand can reach over. Feel your breath opening up through your ribs. So we're trying to create space through our rib cage. And then back to center. Hands on the knees and a few more cat-cows, seated cat-cows. And then get nice and tall. Bring your hands together at your heart in prayer. Take a breath, soften your shoulders. And start to make a few, actually, sorry, let's bring our hands down to the knees for this to start. Start to make a little circle with your head as if you had a pointer or a pencil on the top of your head and you were making the tiniest little pinhole of a circle. And then let that circle start to get bigger, like a spiral, spiraling out. Connect your breath, long, slow, comfortable movements. As soon as you get to a place where you start to feel the muscles opening, hold back, don't go any further. So it's not so much about getting a huge stretch as it is about just feeling a flow in your neck. A wave again, a river in your neck, or the gentlest whirlpool, effortless. Notice your shoulders, soften them. We have this tendency of really wanting to push, to go deep into the stretch, go the other way, circles in the other direction. Do a couple at that biggest circle and then start to close the spiral so the circle becomes smaller. And then back to center. Now we can get a deep stretch. So right ear comes to the right shoulder. Don't bring the shoulder up and don't force it. It's just a gentle guiding down. And then left shoulder drops away. Again, doesn't have to be huge. And come back up gently, gently, gently. Other side, head just gently rolls over. Reach the shoulder away. Couple of deep breaths. Letting go breath, always your option. Oh, as soon as I do that, I can feel release. I can feel release through my back. I can feel release through my shoulders. It's amazing the places where we hold on, where as soon as we notice them, they release. It's just that awareness that's challenging. Lift your head back up. And then wherever you are, come down onto hands and knees. Use a blanket if your knees are tender. So I always prefer to have a blanket under my knees. Find your tabletop. So hands are right beneath the shoulders, knees are right beneath the hips, shoulders roll back, and some cat-cows here. Round your back up to the sky. That's your exhale. Reach your chest forward. That's your inhale, cow. And then start to sway your hips from side to side so they can make a circle or just go one side to the other. And then see if you can kind of combine those two, hip side to side, then cat, cow. So your whole body starts to sway and flow. If you can connect the breath, do. If that makes it again too mechanical, then just let go of attention on the breath for now and see what it feels like to flow in your body. And come back to center. Some snake movements. So for snake movements, drop your tail back to your heels for child's pose. My child's pose isn't very deep right now. And sweep your nose as if you were sweeping it along the ground. Reach up into cow and then back to cat and then down. And back into tabletop, hands on the ground. Feel your feet on the ground, toes pointed back or curled under. Make that firm connection and awareness. And then come down onto your forearms and onto your belly. Sphinx pose, opening up the shoulders. Hands nice and firm. Draw your shoulder blades together. Drop your shoulders away from your ears, as if you could hug your shoulder blades together around your bra line. And then root through the top of your feet. If your feet get crampy, toes can stay curled under. Pointed back is optimal. Forearms are parallel to the side of the mat. So notice if your hands are coming in a little bit or out, most commonly in. You want them almost lined up completely with the side edge of the mat. Feel your breath. So can you feel your belly pressing into the mat on the inhale, softening on the exhale? If you let go of your heels, can you feel a sway in your back? Can you notice how your back starts to maybe get a little bit less comfortable? So when we root through the feet and then root through the pelvis, it supports the lower back. And see if you can try this. Shrug down like you're a turtle coming in the shell, and then lift up, turtle comes out of the shell. Down and up. Where's your gaze? So it can be down towards your fingertips. It can be about a foot out. Where does it feel most comfortable? And then come down onto your belly. Bring one ear to the mat or your forehead, whatever feels more comfortable. And bring your hands down to your sides. Let your shoulders completely round in. Let your heels roll out. Sweep your hands overhead, palms face down. Look straight down, even just for a minute. Then lift your feet up off the ground, lift your hands up off the ground. Reach from your fingers to your toes like a Superman. Feel your breath. Sweep your hands back down and come onto the other ear if you're rotating your head. Come back to center. Fingers or hands right beneath your shoulders this time. So the thumbs are lined up with your armpits. Tuck your elbows in, so they will have a tendency for most people to come out like chicken arms. You want to tuck them in, root through the top of your feet, root through your pelvis, so that's just pressing down gently. And then with the strength of your back, lift up into baby cobra. So the chest lifts, the shoulders lift, the neck is long. And then using the strength of your arms, push back up into table. We're coming up to standing. So your option is to come into downward dog, curling your toes under, lifting your tail high, or transitioning in whatever way feels best for you. I'm going to do the standing part of our practice on the chair. So that's an option for anybody who doesn't want to stand. You've got balance issues. Once you're there, feel your feet on the ground. Take a few breaths. Roll your shoulders up to your ears. Drop them back down. Close your eyes or drop your gaze. Imagine there was a ribbon from the center of your foot all the way up through the crown of your head, drawing in two directions, down to the ground, up to the earth. And then start to sway from side to side. So if you're standing, you're going to more clearly feel the weight go from one foot to the other foot. If you're sitting, sits bones, one side of the chair to the other. And again, we're creating flow here. Your body becomes a river. Bring one hand to your heart, the other hand to your heart, and sway. So for those who are interested in the chakras, the second chakra is a center of creativity. Also, the throat chakra is a center of creativity. So when we can flow like this, we're really making our second chakra happy, whether that resonates with you or not. We're making space. We're letting go. And come back to center. Heart hand mudra. This is a flow with the hands. So feel your feet, bring your palms together, feel your palms together. Feel that connection, the connection of the palms together. Certainly a classic salutation, but also balancing, a midpoint. And then take your first two fingers and hold on with the thumb to the second or the third and pinky fingers, and bring those first two fingers down to the ground. This is Bu Mudra. So Bu Mudra Bu is earth in Sanskrit. This is your grounding wire. So we connect the flow, that creative flow, with grounding, with our connection to the earth, which is our stability. Steady in your feet, soft in your shoulders, soft in your hips. And then one time without the breath, just so that you can get a sense of the movement, lift your arms up to the sky, palms will come together, you can look up. Then bring your hands down, forearms come together. Then open your arms out, goddess. There's some strength. Bring your hands together again. Interlace your fingers, index finger points forward, and stretch your arms straight out in front. This is your vision. Where are you headed? What's the end goal? You might not know. It's clarity here. Then release the hold of your hands. Open your arms out to the side. Surrender. Open to whatever the universe has in store. And then, as if you're pulling energy back in towards your heart, bring your palms together. Palms at heart center. Now with the breath, Boom Mudra starts our grounding wire. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, letting go breath if it helps, palm or forearms together. Inhale, arms open, the strength of the goddess. Exhale, hands together. Interlace and inhale, stretch your arms out. We pause here for a couple of breaths. Looking straight through your thumbs, soften your shoulders. Arms are straight and determined, but shoulders are soft. Can your arms be straight and determined without carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? On your next inhale, release, open up. Pull all that energy in, exhale to your heart. One more time, fingers down, Boom Mudra, the earth. Inhale to lift. Exhale, forearms together. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, point. Exhale, soften your shoulders. Inhale, arms open. Exhale, palms together. There's a lot of different energies in that flow. And then we're going to come into tree. So eyes open, finding what we call a drishti. So a point of focus, something in front of you that you can focus all of your attention on. It's almost like, I like to imagine it like Superman, kind of X-ray vision, looking through a point on the wall. And then start to shift your weight into your left foot. So on the chair, you just feel the weight coming into your hip. And then start by just lifting the right ankle, heel rather, and setting it on the left ankle. So your toes still on the ground. This way you still have 2 points of contact with the earth. Stay here or lift the foot up to your calf, or you can come all the way up, foot comes up to the thigh. So a little bit of instability, a little bit of kind of playing around with balance is great. Not at the expense of frustration. So if you start to get frustrated because you can't find your balance, then find another place where you can feel maybe tippy. Tippy's okay. All trees have a little bit of sway in them, but not frustrated. If your foot is resting at your thigh or your calf, root it. Feel some pressure. Feel the foot coming together and connected. If it feels good, arms can come up to the sky. And same arms as we had in our mudra flow, straight arms, but soft shoulders. Reaching up, don't carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. Soften your shoulders. And then palms together again, back down to your heart, and let go. Shake out your leg. Standing leg might feel a little wobbly. And then other side. This is not one I can demonstrate, but feel your weight shifting into the right foot. Find your drishti again. Drishti helps with balance, focus. It makes the pose more meditative, something to focus your attention on. Lift the left heel up to right ankle. Stay here, find your foundation. And then if you want to lift the leg up, sole of the foot to the calf or to the thigh. Little wobbly, that's okay. Or feel stable. If you feel firmly grounded and rooted, then that's great. Either is great. Arms come up, only if you want. If the prayer feels good, keep it there. Reach up, drop your shoulders. Notice your breath. Palms together, hands come down, foot comes down if it hasn't already. And then on an inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Swan dive, so arms come out to the side. Slow exhale, come into a forward fold. Forward fold is surrender. It is where we feel that letting go in the breath. We can feel that letting go in the body. And it's not a letting go as in losing complete control. It's a letting go as in releasing that gripping control, that control where we feel like we need to hang on. Just in this moment, let your body go. Body doesn't need to hold on anymore. Feel your spine lengthening. Feel your head. 10 pounds, they say the head is. That's a nice weight hanging off your spine, allowing it to lengthen. You might feel your belly on your thighs. There's a sensory cue for breath. And in your own time, slowly making your way down, back onto your back. Sorry, not onto your back. I did the same thing last week. Not onto your back, sitting. I apologize. So sitting with your legs outstretched. If you have a blanket, it's nice to come up onto it. It allows for most people their hips to come into neutral. Sometimes it's nice to do this against a wall as well, but something where your back feels supported and you aren't arching back. Let's start again, just feeling your foundation, feeling where you're connected to the ground. So don't discount this. For a lot of people, it seems kind of secondary, this awareness, but and I know it certainly was for me for many, many years, but this feeling yourself on the ground is really one of the significant differences between yoga and kind of any old exercise. It's very good for the brain, very good for the nervous system, and it is kind of a mini meditation. So we kind of think of meditation as these long seated practices. To start, they don't have to be. So another forward fold. We're going to start by lifting the arms up to the sky, reaching, soften your shoulders. And then as if you're reaching towards the wall in front of you, trying to reach for something. Bring your hands down. If they come to your feet, your shins, your knees, just to your calves. Before you completely round your back, get long. So feel your back lengthening. Exhale, length, that ribbon that we felt when we were standing in mountain pose, from your tail this time to the crown of your head. Exhale, there's a deepening into the fold. Inhale, exhale. And then if it feels comfortable, rounding your head down, feel that release through your back fascia. So here, even in these static poses, there's still a flow. The breath becomes the wave or the river. You can feel a kind of pulsing of your body. So can you kind of step out of that firmness of the pose and just let your body flow a little, pulsing up and down. Even if it's not actually happening physically, can you kind of imagine that your body is a wave moving with your breath? Now in that same snake-like movement, rolling your spine up, so you're sitting up tall again. Bend one knee and tuck that foot in as close to your pelvis as you can. Opposite hand comes to that knee. The other hand reaches up towards the sky. We're coming into a twist, but we want to get long before we come into the twist. Reach for the sky. Bring the hand back behind you. Root through the hand that's on the ground. Lift tall. Exhale, roll your shoulder back, look over your shoulder, just like our opening twist. And again, if neck is sore, then you just look straight ahead and eyes look behind you. So your hand that's on the knee can stay holding. It can come to the outside edge and point up or down. So you choose depending on how much rotation you have in your torso. And see if you can rotate more at the waist. than in your upper shoulders, or at least as much. Eyes look forward, unwind, and switch sides. So again, I'm not demonstrating on this side, or maybe I can a little bit. Holding your knee, reach up, 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 up. Bring your hand down, get tall, roll your shoulder away. Look behind or as far as your neck can comfortably rotate. Look over your shoulder. Feel that rotation at the waist. Eyes look forward and back to center. And then come onto your backs, this time for real. Have your knees bent, feet about hip width apart. So if you start with your feet together, heel toe one time apart, and that's about hip width. Tuck them in as close to your pelvis as you can, and have your hands at your side. Feel the little space between your lower back and the ground. So more weight on your shoulders, more weight on your hips. Press your lower back into the ground. So you feel almost like you're tucking your tail, but it's more of a dropping. And then release that. Now with the breath, exhaling. And then inhale, release. One more time, exhale, press your lower back into the ground. And then release. This time, exhale, press, root into both feet and lift your pelvis up off the ground. Doesn't have to come very far. If you want to come into a full bridge here, holding the outside edge of the mat, tucking your shoulders in, you can, or just stay comfortably lifted. And then roll down one vertebrae at a time. This time, same thing, but we're adding our arms. So we're going to exhale, lower back to the ground, lift the pelvis, and at the same time, the arms lift up overhead and land on the ground above your head. And then on an exhale, melt yourself down, hands float back down to your side. So try that 3 more times, that full movement. Lower back comes down, root through your feet, lift your pelvis, arms float up overhead. Take a breath and then exhale. 2 more in your own time. Flow and then grounding. Feel your firm foundation. And then windshield wiper your legs from side to side so they just flop to one side and then the other. Reconnect with your breath. Next time your feet come over to the right, just let them stay there, flop them down. You can, if you want, bring the lower leg ankle onto the top. So bring your hand to your lower leg and just touch it. Again, sensory connection, noticing what's my bottom leg, and then bring that ankle on top of the knee on the other one. It just helps to deepen the stretch. Certainly not essential. And then lift up, flop to the other side. Bring your hand to that bottom leg, feel it, connect it, noticing. And then that ankle comes, if you want, onto the top knee. Lift up and find a comfortable place to finish your practice. So legs can be outstretched, or you can have your knees bent, soles of the feet on the outside edge of your mat. So I just realized that you might not all have mats. So a mat width is about 2 feet. Knees roll in, and then just adjust. So this constructed rest position with the knees bent is really meant to completely relax the pelvis. So you want to just shift your feet around to feel what feels perfect for you, if that's the position you want to end in. Again, option is legs outstretched. And let's start with hands on the belly. Once you found your foot position. Hands on the belly, very soothing. There's that comfort and connection. It's centering. For me, allows me to kind of drop inside a little bit more. And then I want you to try rolling your hands open with the palms facing up, and notice how that can completely release the shoulders. And some people who have shoulders that are rounded in, palms down, is going to feel better, but optimal, again, and depending on your body, for many people, is going to be palms face up. So I want you to choose whatever feels better for you. This kind of centering, bringing in, or shoulders relaxing. Remember that our goal is comfort. We want to be 100% comfortable. You can come into, or bring your hands into Bhu Mudra if you want, or just feel this sense of connection with the earth. There's this lovely tantric yoga, not the neo-tantric that we're most familiar with, but ancient tantra idea that anytime we have a symbol of a god or a goddess, or in this case, the earth, we can remember that whatever that god or goddess is that we're worshiping, the earth in this case, is actually part of us. So when we hold Bhu Mudra, or we feel our connection with the earth, then we can go a level deeper in our imagination and just imagine becoming part of the earth. Feeling yourself not just on top of, but connected to the ground. Imagine yourself melting down into the earth's belly, the womb of Mother Earth, surrounded and supported And to whatever degree, for some of you, it might feel good to go right down into the womb, be completely surrounded by the nourishment of earth. Earth is this stability. The universe is the unknown, and in between is this kind of human realm, often kind of chaotic feeling. So we go beneath the chaos, feel the nourishment of the earth. Imagine yourself a seed. And as you breathe and feel connected, part of the earth, feel your seed growing, rising up above the surface if you dropped right into the womb, head peeking out of the top of the soil, just like a little sprout, growing tall and strong, nourished now by the light of the sun, the gentle kiss of the rain. And again, with your breath, imagine blossoming into the most beautiful flower. Most beautiful flower, somehow independent, creative, spacious, open, independent, but also not just connected to, but part of the earth. And if you can see that flower in your mind's eye, imagining now just a gentle breeze, allowing you to sway, to dance. Dance in the sun, dance in the rain, dance in your connection to the ground, part of the ground. And if it feels good, you might start to actually feel that sway in your physical body. That same sway that we did when we were standing. Feel that movement. Be aware of how comforting it feels. And again, maybe stability feels more comfortable. Your choice, your practice. And as you start to wake up out of this visualization, coming back into the space, your eyes might open, look around, and then close again so that you can slowly and gently wake up. And then if it feels right, taking a big stretch overhead so that your body can fully wake up. And then wrap your hands around your knees. Give yourself a squeeze. Say something kind. What do you need to hear today? Say it. And then in your time, slowly making your way up to sitting. And we'll reconnect before saying bye. Often finishing with the sound Om, but today I thought we could end with the sound E. So E is a sound that vibrates the throat, and the vibrations can, if you're really tuned in, go right down into your hands. Hands, of course, where we can manifest creativity. So even you might feel it in your, I hope you feel it in your throat. Not everybody does, but if you do, then just imagine spreading that vibration down into your hands. So we take a breath in and then we make the sound, and it's a deep so that you can really feel the vibrations. And we'll do that on 3 breaths. So an inhale. And again. Namaste, everyone. Thank you.